I'm sensing a storm is coming. They're calling me out to play. Got a feeling I'm gonna win, and they think that I don't have game. I know before I've had a few falls, I've got dirt all on my face. Baby, today I'm gonna win, and you're gonna remember my name. You're gonna remember my name. Gonna remember my name. I've got a feeling you're gonna remember my name.
Hello, and welcome to Sup't Scoop. I'm Ken Hamilton, the superintendent of the Mount Vernon City School District, and your host for Sup't Scoop. We have an exciting episode planned today. We are going to visit our pool and then talk about the Superintendent's Conference Day, which was an extraordinary professional development opportunity for the entire district. We are situated here in the swimming pool. You have heard tons of information about the swimming pool that has been under construction for a little over a year now. Our target date is January 1 to have the swimming pool open. Joining me now in this massive construction project is our swim assistant, Alfredo Riulano.
Correct.
So, Alfredo, welcome to Sup't Scoop.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't you describe for us what we are witnessing here, what's going on here, and then we'll talk about where we are in terms of giving rebirth to our swim program.
Sure. Right now we are filling in the cracks so that none of the water is leaking out of the pool, which was a major issue with the pool in previous years. And we're working on getting the ventilation system up and running into the pool to pull out all the pool smell, basically that you would typically see at most pools.
So now that you are officially on board, what steps have you taken to begin to identify and recruit students, and what will the scope of our swim program be, including our commitment to get youngsters certified as lifeguards?
Well, first thing that we did was work on getting an agreement with Red Cross, so now we can teach actual Red Cross classes in the pool, whether it's lifeguarding courses or WSI courses, things like that. We are now working on getting an agreement with Westchester Parks and Recs so that we can run lifeguarding courses and then get our students hired into the workforce with Westchester Parks and Recs.
Awesome. And what has the student interest level been like so far?
From what I've seen in the hallways and when I've kind of been around in meetings, students seem very positive about the situation. They seem very enthusiastic about getting into the pool and trying it out. So that has been a very, very nice kind of piece that we've seen.
Part of what our challenge has been is there's been delay after delay after delay, and I'm going to talk to Ken Silver after our break and bring him in and talk about some of that. But when I talk to students, they are super excited about what this prospect means for them, even some of our parents.
Yes.
And I know statistically in communities like Mount Vernon, many students don't know how to swim, and that often results in higher incidence of drowning for minority students in particular. What's been your experience with that, and how do you see us beginning to reverse that trend with the opening of this pool?
Yes, definitely in minority areas, it is harder to learn to swim because there is no swimming pool. Mount Vernon in the past had two. Unfortunately, both pools are down, and now we have this pool getting opened up again. So that's a great start. Now it's the matter of putting in a curriculum for our freshmen and sophomores to come in and start learning how to swim, putting in an after-school program for our younger kids in the elementary level to learn how to swim, and then also putting in an adult program so that our parents can be able to come in and swim with their kids on the weekend and enjoy the pool. So what I've mostly seen is that when parents know how to swim, it's easier to translate that to the students and get them into the pool and get them enthusiastic about swimming in the pool.
I can't begin to tell you how excited I am to see this come to fruition. When I first came into the district and I was touring the various buildings and I stumbled upon this room, I could not believe that such an incredible facility had essentially just been abandoned. And I have to give credit to Assemblyman Pretlow for giving us the resources to bring this to fruition. But he was very adamant, in addition to all the stuff that we were doing, he really wanted to create opportunities for our youngsters to be trained as lifeguards, which I think will be part of his legacy to this community.
Definitely. We're gonna be able to host as many lifeguarding courses as we would like. I'm looking to hopefully do it as far as part of the curriculum as a gym class, but also in after school hours for those students that can't really fit it into their gym class. Awesome. And then also too, just the fact of advertising them out to other pools and getting them set up where they can go out and now work and not just have a certification that they're never going to use again.
Right.
That's going to be our big ticket item with the lifeguarding classes, is making sure that once they have their lifeguarding certification, they're able to now go out and work.
Awesome. All right, we'll be right back. Joining me in the next segment will be our Assistant Superintendent for Business, Ken Silver, and he will talk to us about some of the steps we've taken and our contact and relationship with the State Board of Health. We'll be right back.
What if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Hello and welcome back to Sup't Scoop. Joining me now is our Assistant Superintendent for Business, Mr. Ken Silver. And I'm going to talk to Ken about what our process has been so far and where we are in terms of state approval with the Department of Health. So this pool has been underway for quite a while now, the reconstruction of this pool, and we've had several hurdles that we've had to climb. And I'd like to take this opportunity to give our viewers an update on where we are, why it's taken so long, and our targeted opening date.
Thank you. We have targeted now to try to be finished with this pool, this phase of the pool, by the end of December, so that by New Year's Eve we could be swimming in this pool. This is only phase one, but phase one encountered a number of hurdles having to do with the health department and the requirements of the code that have changed so much in the many years since this pool has been used. The filtration system requirements are very different. The drainage systems are very different than they were before. So part of this was a grant from Assemblyman Pretlow of $1 million. That money is basically the major part of this first phase. Most of the first phase is below us, on the floor below, where we have taken out all of the original equipment from 1963. And we are today actually installing all the new filtration equipment downstairs. Behind me, we are repairing all the cracks in the pool. It's going to be concreted today and new tile put in. And so that area will be finished. Along the outside of the pool, which we can't see from here, the area where the water splashes when people are in the pool, that water goes downstairs into a tank and is recycled into the pool so we don't waste any water. The purpose of repairing all the cracks is obvious, so that we do not have water leaking out of the pool. In fact, we would not have had much of this, but that for these past 8 or 10 years since the pool's been used, they didn't have water in it. And one of the cardinal rules is water has to stay in a pool even if the pool is not being used. So that's phase one. We hope to be finished with that in less than 45 days. Phase two will begin in July, where we will be doing replacing the locker room, the showers, all the areas that are not just in the pool. We will also be expanding and enlarging and changing the viewing gallery so that if we have competition, when we have competition in the pool, people will be able to see, and this will accommodate several hundred people from the very small area that it is now. We will also have a cover for the pool which will work electronically. We're required by the health department to have a cover on the pool.
Great. So tell us more about our relationship with the State Department of Health, because I know we've had some challenges with them, and our requirement now to meet new codes as it relates to the pool?
We have installed a lot of equipment that required the health department to their approval. Some of it was that we were trying to avoid some of the changes in the code so that we could put in equipment that was similar to what was here originally. But because we're doing so much to the pool, we were required to make major modifications in the equipment that was replaced. And so to get their approval was very challenging. We did get their cooperation. They have pretty much approved everything. We also have a whole system going in here through the energy performance contract, which will make this room more like room temperature rather than a hot pool. In the past, also, the heat from several other areas in this building came into this pool, into the pool area, and now that has been changed up on the roof so that the heat from these other rooms is going out of the building rather than into the pool.
Awesome. So meeting these new requirements not only creates greater opportunities for our students, but even for the community, because we will now be able to host events for various swim teams, including the U.S. swim team.
Yes, and we are hoping to make up through revenues a good portion of the expense of operating the pool on a yearly basis.
Awesome. This has been an exciting project. It's taken longer than we anticipated, but the beauty of it is that once it is done, it will really be done. It's a one and done kind of project. So I can't thank you enough for your commitment to seeing this through. I will take the first dip in the pool when the pool is ready, and that will conclude this part of the Sup't Scoop. We are now going to be joined by our professional development trainers who facilitated an amazing superintendent's conference day this week, and we'll be right back after these messages.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Information on hot water heating.
No. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out the words.
World music, playing track now.
No.
Let me try. Our daughter gets confused about which details in a story are important.
Which paper towels are most absorbent?
What?
Here are 5 product reviews.
Why are you not getting me?
See, I told you.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Hi, and welcome back to Sup't Scoop. We have with us 2 of our district leaders for professional development. We had our first superintendent's conference day, and it was extraordinary. We had a district-wide professional development opportunity at the Mount Vernon High School, and it was perhaps one of the best I have ever seen. I'll allow my guests to introduce themselves, and then we'll get right into this segment. Tanganyika?
Thank you for having us. I'm Tanganyika Linda Brown.
And Julie.
Good afternoon, I'm Julie Termini.
So I was blown away by the PD experience that we had in our district. So Tanganyika, why don't you start by just sharing with me what went into the organization, how were the sessions selected, and how it was ultimately organized and orchestrated?
The efforts to have a professional development conference series is arduous, and yesterday proved that it was well worth it. We take so many things into consideration to make it teacher choice driven. One of those factors is the needs assessment, where every individual staff member is invited to make their identities known. If I'm a teacher, I might have these needs. If I'm an administrator, I might have these needs. If I'm a teacher's assistant, I might have yet other needs. And we want to consider those so that a professional opportunity is not just this blanket training. It really is a personalized opportunity to grow.
Absolutely. And Julie, what went into its organization, and how did you identify the facilitators for each of the workshops?
So choosing those courses in order to be able to provide all of this choice for our staff, we started with a needs assessment last spring. where we identified what were the needs of the staff through an online survey that they took. We analyzed all of those results. We spoke with our standards administrators to see what other initiatives they had, what other things they felt were important from being in the classrooms all the time, and then created our catalog from there. The facilitators for most of our workshops were actually teacher leaders. We've done extensive training with many of our teachers to create trainers that can now facilitate workshops for our staff, as well as be a point person in their building. So if anybody has additional questions on the workshop they attended, they know who to go to for additional support.
Awesome. One of the things that I liked about the training was I get a lot of calls from parents about the number of professional development days that are in the calendar, and therefore kids are out of school. And I know to some extent that's unavoidable, but the superintendent's conference day really gave us an opportunity to bring everybody together without pulling teachers out of the classroom and ensuring that there was continuity of instruction. So what was the feedback like, Tanganyika? What did you hear from participants?
My ears are still ringing from the wow experience. People felt appreciated, recognized, celebrated, and I dare say valued. This was one of those times where they didn't feel that internal struggle of saying, my students are waiting, I have an audience there, how can I be away from them and call myself an instructor? How can I impact education if I'm having this conflict? They were relieved to really engage in the experience. And we've done that very intentionally. The Superintendent's Conference Days is a conference series that are 2.5 days long, where there are no students in school, where there's no interruption of instruction, where this continuity of learning happens without the students being sacrificed.
Amazing, amazing. So what's next? So now that we've done this awesome professional development for our staff, it's been my motto, what gets monitored gets done. So you have to inspect what you expect. So after this extraordinary experience, what's the follow-up to it?
So the teachers are expected to go back to their classrooms or their position, if it's not a classroom position, and apply what they learned from yesterday's staff development day. Use it in their classroom or their job, work with it for the next 2.5 months, and then on February 1st we have a half-day superintendent conference day where they can come back, they can share with their other participants in their course how it went, what were some struggles, they can brainstorm some best practices, learn something new about the same content so that they're really developing depth and breadth. And then the same thing will happen after February. They'll go back to their job, they'll work it out with their students, with their in their job role, and they'll get to use it and practice it and implement it, and then come back in March for the final session of the course, where they can then again get even deeper knowledge.
Awesome. So I attended 5 or 6 sessions, and I've never seen teachers so engaged with each other and so excited about their learning. I attended one session in particular on the integration of technology, and the audience was all across the continuum in terms of proficiency. So it was really great to see folks at proficient levels with technologies and those who are at the very beginning stages. And so I know the other classes were composed the same way. So now my question for you becomes, how do you make it even better? Like, once you set this standard, how do you make it even better moving forward?
You continue to ask the questions. You continue to engage in a meaningful dialogue. It doesn't become an isolated incident, because if you don't grow, then you remain stagnant. We have to continue to set this as a benchmark and go higher and higher.
Excellent, excellent.
All about reflection, as teachers, we always constantly are reflecting on our practice and questioning how we can improve upon that. And so now, in our role, we're going to have to do the same thing. So let's reflect on what went well, what were some shining moments yesterday, and how can we continue to improve on any needs that we see going forward.
Awesome. I received some emails from PE teachers who had a different experience, and our support staff and security staff all had an opportunity to participate in professional development, which is something that they've been asking for. So I was really pleased to see that all those needs were being addressed.
Absolutely. Everyone matters.
Yes. I can't thank you enough for your extraordinary contribution to the district and for putting together such an outstanding Superintendent's Conference Day. Well, that's all the time we have on Sup't Scoop. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.